Now with the Spurs draw. First half Spurs by 5. Mookie finds Ivano Newbill. Carl Herrera finds Ivano's noggin. Take another look. Ivano finds a little blood in his hands as well. More time and Herrera. Right on top of the coconut. Newbill would not be able to return to the game.
Vlade Divac hitting the floor hard, and he is hurt. Olajuwon called for the foul. Vlade Divac got entangled, slammed to the floor, says he's all right, trying to walk it off.
I took a hip check from Akeem Olajuwon and just got his feet up above him there, and just had no balance when he went to the when he went hard to the floor, right square on his back.
Kept alive by Karl Malone and Malone. Look out. Divac and Malone getting involved. Vlade may still be upset by the hard fall he took a moment ago.
Oh, he's mad about that, and he also felt he got pushed in the back. And now Reggie Miller going over and getting into the faces of a number of the Yugoslavian players.
And Reggie Miller pointing at one of the players on the Yugoslavian bench. And now Miller and Divac talking it over. Vlade trying to settle it down. Karl Malone is going to throw Sasha out of the play. Then Vlade comes over, takes a hard foul, and doesn't like what's going on. And then Reggie, for some reason, walks over to the Yugoslavian bench and gets into it.
Set 2 between two old foes. Miami was where PJ played, and they battled with the New York Knicks where Charles Oakley played for several years. And those battles were legendary, even in the playoffs. Maybe that's the start of a rivalry between these two teams. Certainly they don't have any. And who the peacemaker is? Michael Jordan. And Charles Oakley still sitting on the bench. He hasn't played since that game.
Wednesday in Seattle, Gary Payton mugged by Joe Wolf, then assaults him with a dead weapon. His head right there. He's ejected, fined, suspended for a game, ending his consecutive game streak at 354 because of that.
One step beyond.
You might recall the Worm picking up his 3rd suspension this season, the latest for his shot to the groin area of Milwaukee's Joe Wolf. On Monday, suspensions have cost him 14 games this season.
You know, it's amazing that Dennis Rodman gets himself entangled or involved. Here, he and Joe Wolf now want to dance after the little slap to the groin area. And Dennis manages to get himself in all those little problems. But I'll tell you what, as a coach, you're still, like Phil Jackson said, we need him to win. You have to have a guy like Dennis Rodman on your floor to help you win basketball games.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Now everybody getting involved. Rodman and Davis get tangled up. Both players picked up technicals. Dennis actually showing a good sign. He actually walked away, got out of there.
You know, I've been a good boy. What do you think?
All right, Monday Night Jazz Bulls. Would Dennis be a good guy? Would John Stockton be a good guy? Some people say he's a little bit dirty. Exhibit A. Two guys sleep. Lowers the shoulder right there into Randy Brown. He does Brown a nasty. Brown punks Stockton and gets a technical foul. They go at it for the first half. Bulls by 16. Stockton strikes again. Lowers the shoulder into Mike. Mike jams him up with a forearm shiver and then says, hey, don't try that stuff. Don't bring it. Get out of my grill.
Man-on-ball defense. Look at it. Sliding his feet the whole way through. Causes a frustration foul by Stockton. Look at it again. Man-on-ball. Slide. Offensive foul, John Stockton. What a good defensive job there.
And a foul is called. Stockton hit the floor, but he picks up his 2nd personal.
And John is really fired up in this ballgame. He has had some problems defensively and has not been getting as many minutes as he would normally like. Plays has been his usual feisty self and
Washington's suspension was the longest for on-court violence in the history of the NBA. He missed 26 games. He forfeited $60,000 in salary for punching Rudy Tomjanovich in the face. And as Washington tells Mark Schwartz, the shadow from that act hangs over the rest of his life.
The public views Latrell differently because Latrell is making millions of dollars.
Kermit Washington says the only thing he and Latrell Sprewell have in common is an act of violence that incurred the wrath of the image-conscious NBA.
He is at least having due process. I had no process at all, no due process. They suspended me and fined me, and I had no way of getting the money back or even telling my story.
Do you think that the way our society has changed, that Latrell Sprewell will be forgiven more quickly than you were forgiven?
I don't think I've ever been forgiven. They would have never remembered me as a basketball player. I was just an average basketball player. But the name Kermit Washington, the next sentence they'll say is, aren't you the guy? You know, maybe on my grave, they'll say, aren't you the guy?
One horrendous act obscures the fact that Kermit Washington was an academic All-American. He says it's cost him consideration for the head coaching job at Stanford, and that he's been passed over for assistant jobs in the pros. Despite 20 years of solid citizenship, Kermit Washington still can't shake Kermit Washington.
My name will be bad in the public's eye, people, until I die.
Washington says that doesn't have to be Sprewell's legacy.
If I was Latrell, I would say, let's find out what the truth is. I apologize. It'll never happen again. What can I do to compensate PJ for the pain he's gone through? What can I do to compensate anybody else that I've hurt? And let me please have a clean slate from this point on.
What has he done to hurt his image?
A lot of things, and people have gotten upset with me that don't get Johnny Cochran. Don't have him in your side. He did a tremendous job for O.J., but probably 80% of the people think O.J. was guilty. So he did a good job there. But as soon as you get a Cochran on your side, the race issue comes in. And then all of a sudden, maybe trying to get somebody off that is guilty. Get rid of the sunglasses. Get rid of the goatee. And please get rid of the braids. Because middle America will see those things, and nothing is wrong with those. But they will see them and perceive them the wrong way. Now, Black America says nothing wrong with that. But Black America doesn't own television, doesn't own newspapers, and doesn't own radios.
Sprewell might want to listen to what Washington says about perception. After all, he could do a lot worse. Reporting from Portland, I'm Mark Schwartz, ESPN.